Welcome back to the Andy Mechanic Workshop. Just been reading through the leaflets go out from Machinery House. Some very expensive stuff in there, so we'll put that away very quickly. Stop sending me stuff like that, Machinery House, because I'll only spend more money. Lots of nice toys in there. Anyway, this morning it's cold. Look, yes, got my jacket on. Now let's find out who's in the workshop this morning. Bear with me a second, crew, while we get set up. Bum, bum, bum. There we go. Right. Now then, who have we got? Daz, 323323. Morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Daz. Welcome back, sir. Vijay Governor, good evening, Andy and crew, watching from a very cold South Africa. Honestly, who thought that South Africa would ever get cold? Anyway, we're both cold this morning. That's great. Now then, where's Andy? I'm here. Roger Heaps. Good morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Roger, and welcome back, sir. How's the world of farming these days? Now, let's get rid of the adverts. Now, I had a problem with the internet on my phone, the one that I use every day, my daily phone, which is what I normally link the laptop to. The internet on that was terrible this morning, so we're piggybacking off the workshop for both transmission and reception, so hopefully everything will go to plan. Who knows? Anyway, who else have we got? Sir Richard Perry, morning Andy and crew. GB, big thumbs up. Good morning, Richard. Jim K, good morning. Good morning, Jim. Great to talk during the week again, as always. Any news from my end? Not really. Not really. We're okay. Everything's sort of in abeyance at the moment, is the word, isn't it? MF50B. Now then, Andy. Oh, that's a good one. Yorkshire. Now then, Andy and crew. Hope all is well. Red hot in Rydale. Oh, I don't so much like red hot, but it is a bit chilly this morning, to be fair. So send some of your heat across this way, and I'll be all good. Because today I'm spraying. It's not a perfect day for spraying. Yesterday we did some dipping. So, those that are regular viewers may well know that I have a lot of fabrication work to do over the last 18 months. And we tried, as we did each batch of stuff, and you can have a little look around the workshop in a minute, and I'll show you what we've been doing. We tried to sort of streamline the whole thing. And the first thing we did was the main plates still get sandblasted, but all the small components like this, well, we chuck them in the cement mixer with some garnet and leave it a few hours, and it comes out nicely etched up. It gets rid of the mill scale, and it's perfect for spraying. And then the next improvement we did, we tried it a couple of times and sort of edged away from it and then tried it again. And we sort of got the process refined, where these small parts, I can just thin the paint down to just the right consistency, and we can dip them. So there's no fumes in the workshop, it's lovely and quiet. And we were doing that all day yesterday, well, after I fixed an ROV, basically. And this one came out. I just plucked this off the roof of the carport, and it came out really, really well. I didn't go through them all to find the best one. This was the first one I grabbed, and there's no runs. And the only telltale it's been dipped is a little tiny sort of nipple of paint on the bottom where the last bit of paint's just set on the bottom. But it came out really, really well. Now, you may ask why we have a bolt stuck in it. Well, the reason for that is there's an M8 thread in there, and we didn't want to get paint in it. So Mrs. Mechanic takes all these bolts out when they're ready to pack. And this was only this was only dipped yesterday afternoon. It's already dry. I did, however, make a catastrophic mistake yesterday, and I really wasn't sure how they were going to turn out. I was busy mixing up my paint, and we were getting a bit low. You might see all the paint and stuff on the bike hoist behind me, and inadvertently I grabbed a can of PPG black gloss paint, thinking it was the container paint, the sort of a satin finish paint that we use for all these components. And I tipped it in to, I mixed the two together basically. I didn't realize. I just thought, well, I found two tins that are near the bottom. I'll just put them both together, and then we'll use that. And only after I tipped it in did I see the little PPG band on the bottom of the tin. I'm like, oh no, is it going to react? Is it all? Is all that paint now waste? I thinned it down and it seemed to look okay, and it came out really, really well. It's quite a nice finish, actually, so I have to bear that in mind for next time, actually. And no runs whatsoever. It seemed to give it actually a better finish. Whether that was down to my thinning process or not, I don't know, but very, very happy, actually. We've still got a little bit more dipping to do this morning. We've got one more. Well, we might get them all done, actually. We'll see how we get on, but I must get the plates sprayed. And there's a lot of plates. In fact, before we ever wander around the workshop, let's get the voting going for the pie for this morning. Now, I've not checked on the board. We should go and see, actually, if we've done any of these already, and then we can eliminate them from the... Oh, hang on, what have we got? Has somebody text me? I don't know. No, it's a memory. Right, okay. Let's go and see if we've got any of these pies already on the board, and then we can eliminate them, basically. There's no point doing a pie twice, is there? Right, I'll turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, here we go. Not too fast, YouTube. So the pies we've got Bake Shack butter chicken. Not a great fan of that one. These are all they had left in the shop, by the way. We've got Bake Shack bacon and egg, and we've got the Beast big taste mince and cheese. I think we've done that one, but we're gonna have a look and we'll find out. So Bake Shack butter chicken, bacon and egg, and a Beast mince and cheese. Let's have a little wander across and see if we've done those. Okay, so the Beast beef bacon and cheese. Dum 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 dum. Can you see any on there? Irvin's bacon and egg. No. Bake Shack steak, egg and bacon. So we haven't done a bacon and egg. Okay, up here. The Beasts from memory don't score that well. So they should be down here somewhere. Bake Shack steak and cheese, obviously. Irvin's. Oh no, the Beast mince pie, not mince and cheese. The Beast beef bacon and cheese. That was very dry. The Beast steak and cheese. I think actually Bake Shack pepper steak. I think we might be all right. We might be able to do any of those by the looks of it. Okay, I think we'll go for it. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we've scanned all of them. Okay, so get your votes in now. Which one are we going to go for? We're going to go for the Beast from Irvin's, one of the Irvin's pies, mince and cheese, or Bake Shack bacon and egg, or the Bake Shack butter chicken. The choice will be yours this morning. How's that? Right, whilst you guys are all voting for that one, these are the plates. Mrs. Mechanic's been working really hard. She's got them all sandblasted. They're all ready to go. And there's about 104 of those to spray today. I won't take you outside because there's lots of blue motorcycles and quad bikes out there, which I can't show you. But this, let's have a quick look. See if we can get it out of the bin. There, that's the PPG tin down there, look, that I inadvertently tipped into the Hempel paint, which is, it's not in the original cans, unfortunately. This is the thinners for it. Highly explosive. There we go, Hempel thinner. So the paint that we normally use is from the same brand, and we've only got one full tin. Well, I hope it's full. One tin left, and we've got quite a lot to paint, to be honest. Yes, and this is the dipping technology. We use the long tube for doing the thin bits, and then I have to use this one here for doing the larger diameter stuff. But it does rely on having a reasonable amount of paint. But we have a drip tray, so I set up a little frame and it drip trays into there. It's like 4 or 5 at a time, and we actually recapture quite a lot of paint in there, so it does save a huge amount of paint. And the benefit is there is no mess really in the workshop. We get the odd little splatter on the floor down there. We do put cardboard down, but you know, sometimes it doesn't quite make it to the cardboard. But it's quite a pleasant environment doing it, rather than when you're spraying. You know, you've got to get all geared up and wear the mask and that kind of thing, and oh god, it just gets in your eyes, and it's just nasty. It really is. But that's what I have to do today. I have to spray the big plates. Bloody hell, it's cold. Right, where do we get to? Jim K, I flicked you an email. Interesting photo. Ooh, let's have a look. Let me have a look, Jim. I'm not getting all your emails at the moment, Jim. I didn't get the email with your address on it, so please send that again. When did you send the email? Boom, 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 boom. I know my internet's pretty shit on this phone at the moment, so maybe it's not. I will have a look. Ah, hello. Right. It's just blinked through now, Jim. Oh, I can't say I was saying the teeth go missing from the fixed sheave. Ooh, the pictures are taking a while to download, so we'll come back to that. I'll leave it on there for a minute to try and download those photos. So you're calling the fixed sheave the primary sheave, the one off the centrifugal clutch, right? I have seen those. We're talking the internal splines, right, that go onto the shaft, the output shaft from the centrifugal clutch. I have seen them get torn off, and normally my hunch is that whoever rebuilt it last, there's a washer and a nut that goes on at the end once you've put the primary sheave on the shaft. If the washer isn't correctly located over the splines, then obviously when you torque it up, it gets trapped between the end of the spline and the sheave actually is still loose. The other option possibly is it hasn't been properly torqued, and I've come across a lot of techs over the years which will just do one or two ugga-duggers when they do that nut up. On the ROVs that I service, 190 Newton meters. So on that size ATV, it's probably about 160 Newton meters. At a guess, you'd have to check the manual, obviously. But I've come across it quite a few times with that nuts and to be nowhere near as tight as it should be. And that can cause the sheave, to some movement to develop between it, with the external and internal splines onto the shaft, and eventually wear those splines away. So it causes a bit of chatter, and that's a telltale sign. Hang on. Let me scroll back. You've all been really busy. Bear with me. God, it's cold. I'm a bit slow this morning. Simon Rule. Good morning, Simon. Welcome back, matey. Morning, Andy and crew. Jim Haynes. I did hit the like button, and I'm live today. No racing until next Saturday. Oh well, got a weekend off. Good man. Simon, done them all, I think. Really? I don't know. They're not on the board. I've probably eaten them in the past, but not actually. Anyway, we've got a choice. We'll go for it. I've got to have a pie this morning, so you might as well vote on what pie I'm having. Jim Haynes, being a red-blooded American, apple pies. I haven't got any apple pies. Stuart Martindale. Good morning, Stuart. Go for the beast, matey. Okay, we've got one vote for the beast, right? The Giants, bacon and egg. Oh my God. Doctor of Computers, butter chickens. It's 1-1. MF50B, bacon eggs. And bacon eggs in the lead. George Bonnie 90. Hello, everybody. Good morning, George. Big thumbs up. Right, scrolling down, trying to catch up. Pete Woodfine. Hello, Andy and crew. Jim Haynes, enjoying the calendar. I'm sure you are. June is a wonderful month. Yes, it is June, isn't it? June. I was a bit late changing the calendar over, so my sincere apologies. Purple Monkey 1974. Hello. Beast. Right, so we've got two. The Beast and the bacon egg are neck and neck for first at the moment. And no, I'm not going to eat both of them. JJ, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, JJ. We're busy voting. Those that have just joined us, we're busy voting on which pie to have this morning. We've got the Bake Shack butter chicken. We've got, I'm not a fan of butter chicken. I'm not going to taint it though. If you want me to go for that, we'll go for that. We've got the Bake Shack bacon and egg, and Irvin's The Beast mince and cheese. Now, from memory, correct me if I'm wrong, from memory, these two, until we go further into the comments, these two are neck and neck, so you need to keep voting. I need to know which one to go for. Just a bit of fun, really, isn't it? You guys get to decide what I have for my breakfast. So, ROV. As you know, I've got one in the workshop at the moment. Oh, Beast mince and cheese, good man. Bacon always. Oh God, bacon egg. So it's Beast JJ, right? JJ, you are the one that's got the Beast in the lead, so to speak, by my tally. Anyway, going off the top of my head. So the ROV is almost done. We got the bolts for the calipers this week. Jared sorted those out from Forge, New Zealand. Thank you, Jared. And I got the calipers assembled yesterday morning on the vehicle, and all the brakes bled up, and they are mint, just like a new machine again. You know, they always come really good when you take your time cleaning them all up, and new pistons and seal kits and stuff, and new brake pads and all that kind of thing. But yes, came up very well. Still got the air filter to service, but before I do that, because obviously I don't want the fumes, I've got to, for the very first time actually, on one of the Surf Club vehicles, I've got what I believe to be some impact damage to repair. Front end, driver's side, now they're left hookers, so it's got the steering wheel on the left-hand side. Lower A-arm rear mount, the two holes in the bracket as well that the chassis have overlated. Don't know whether it's wear or whether it's had some form of an impact. I'll only find out once I get in there and see how the whole, you know, whether all the material's worn away or whether it's burned over big time. There's no other signs of impact. I've asked the steward at the club if he's aware of any kind of impact damage on any of the vehicles, and he says nothing's been reported. So, don't know. Bottom line is, I've got to fix it. How am I going to fix it? Well, I think the easiest way is clean it all up, weld a couple of plates either side with the holes in the right place, and use a longer bolt, basically. That's, to me, the easiest way of doing it. Okay, so where do we get to? Any more votes? I'll give you another minute or two. We'll have a cigarette and then we'll go from there. So other than that, what have I been doing? Well, actually, in summary, for the last 4 weeks since I came back from the South Island, pretty much, it would be actually 4 weeks, I've been doing admin work. Admin. I hate doing admin work, but I've got everything done. Now, I don't want to jinx things, because I've got everything done to current on Friday, put it that way. All my warranty claims are all done, which is great. That's always a bit of a task. You know, all my emails are up to date. All my market information reports, these are reports that I send back to the factory. They're all done. All the parts that they've requested, bar one, have been sent back, which is great. And I've been working very fastidiously, is that the right word? Very hard on the PDI stuff. And I'm very, very pleased to say that now 2/3 of the whole network of motorcycle shops here in New Zealand are all uploading their PDIs. This is a check sheet that they do into a Google Drive folder, which is respective for each dealership. Only that particular dealership can see their PDI sheets, because obviously there's personal information of the customer and so on there, so we don't want to share that between dealers. That would be bad. But it allows me to, whenever I want, on a regular basis, to go in and audit those check sheets and make sure that everything's been done correctly. And if it's a road registered vehicle, the PDI is being done by an authorized NZTA PDI inspector, because if it isn't, we have a problem. There's a few other issues that have been highlighted in the background, which I think I brushed on the last live stream, that really, in fact, Simon kicked that one off. Thank you, Simon. And I've not heard any more from Land Transport about that. Basically, I issued a statement, and it's not really up for discussion. You know, I think I'm quite within my rights to take the stance that I have, and we'll see how things pan out. But I will be reinforcing that by once I'm currently collating a list of techs within the whole network that either have or need NZTA PDI authority, right? Bear with me. Might sound boring, but it's not. Not to me anyway. Once that list is finalised, and I've got, I think, 2 more dealerships to send their information through, so I've got to chase that again on Monday, tomorrow. And then once that list goes through to NZTA, they will be the only technicians currently that will be permitted by my employer, the importer of that particular brand of vehicle, permitted to do PDIs on road registered vehicles, right? So anybody else in New Zealand that's maybe had a historic right to do so will have that right extinguished because they're not currently working within the network, so to speak. NZTA didn't like that at all, but that's just the way it is. Permission to do PDIs on that particular brand of vehicle can only be issued by the importer because they carry the full responsibility of said PDI. So they didn't like it, but that's just tough. So that's been quite a lot of workload to get that sorted out, but it's coming together really well actually. And I've already had some good comments, some good feedback from dealers that have started to do it to say this is a great idea actually, because they can go in and look at them whenever they want as well. So they've got an instant office-based reference where they don't have to go and dig through the filing cabinet and find a PDI sheet. So it's a win-win for everybody really. NZTA obviously they'll have access. They do have access to those folders as well, which means they can go in and check and have a little look whenever they want. They don't have to go to a dealership and rummage through all the paperwork. They can just check online, which should give them more confidence that everything's been done correctly. That's the plan, you know. Operate transparently is my motto. Now then, JJ said, the beast for Giant. How hard is it to drill holes into a steel chassis? It's not hard. Just, you know, obviously make sure you use a decent drill bit and start with a pilot hole and work your way up. And good segue, actually. And there's some news I actually forgot. We had the main power supply installed into the workshop for the MIG, Sheldon the mill, and the plasma cutter. They've installed, this is 240 volt AC, and they've installed a 40 amp supply. That's right, 40 amps. Now, when the MIG was bought new, it came with a 16 amp UK plug on it. That's one of the white and blue ones. You'll see them on the air compressors and stuff. And when the electrician turned up, he said, look, plumb the MIG up, put it on full power and do a bit of welding, and we'll measure the amperage draw increase through your main supply box. Okay. And it was like 36, 38 amps or so. It was absolutely monstrous. And he couldn't believe that a machine like that could draw such a high current. So he said, oh, you're going to need a 40 amp supply. Okay, well, whatever we need, you need to make it work because you're the Sparky, right? So anyway, they came up with a plan, and that got installed the other week. I've not used it yet, so I've not blown myself up, but they used a three-phase plug and socket for the setup, and I'll show you in a minute. But I think I'll be using it when I weld up the ROV, so we'll see how we go. But yes, very, very good. Anyway, where were we going with this? He had to drill a hole in one of my beams. I was very upset, actually. He had to drill a hole in that. And he pulled out his little DeWalt rechargeable drill, and it was a 6mm hole, so he chucked a drill bit in, and he was on full speed, and he was like reaching right up like this, because he couldn't be bothered to climb the ladder properly. Poor old drill bit's just buzzing away, squealing, and it's doing, basically there's hardly any swarf coming out. And I said, you need to stop. I says, that's not how you drill a hole in steel. I says, first of all, your drill bit's already blunt. Secondly, you've probably hardened up the steel a little bit with the heat that you've created. So let's find you a nice, sharp, brand new, one of those goldy coloured drill bits that I get from Forge, and you can use that. And we'll use a bit of cutting oil as well. So we put a bit of foam on there, and I said, right, slow speed, and you've got to push a lot harder than what you are, you know, and watch for the swarf. When you see swarf coming out, you know you're cutting. And he did that, and within, I don't know, 20 seconds, he was through the beam. Simple. And he was like, man, nobody's ever told me that. And I says, well, I have now, and you'll never forget that. He was very impressed. It's all about just knowing the basics, isn't it, you know? So hopefully that's answered your question on the how to drill through your chassis, basically. But don't drill too many holes, because chassis are important. Where do we get to? Simon, have you ever noticed how much better a newly rebuilt caliper bleeds up versus an old caliper? I haven't really, actually. because pretty much every caliper that I do or have done for quite some time has always been rebuilt. I always pull them apart to have a look inside and make sure they're all clean and things are as they should be. I know I've had problems bleeding up brakes on cars in the past. Not me personally, but at a place that I used to work at, and they were using completely the wrong technique. So we got it sorted out. But yeah, you could be right there, Simon. You could be right. One little thing that used to really confuse my students when I was teaching them how to bleed brakes, especially with those vacuum bleeders, is you would never get to a point where you wouldn't see air bubbles coming through the clear pipe, as it's sucking the fluid through the system. And it turned out to be air that was being drawn down the threads of the bleed nipple and then getting drawn up with the fluid. So I proved this to them. I said, oh, stop what you're doing. We'll put a bit of grease on the threads. We'll seal that up. And then you can try it again. And perfect. Instantly, there was no air whatsoever. So it proved that the air was coming down the threads. And that's one of my annoyances with the vacuum bleeders. I know you've got to use them sometimes, but you don't get absolute confirmation that there is zero air left in the system, in the fluid coming out. But that's a neat little trick. If you need to know, you just use a bit of grease on the threads, and that normally sorts the problem out. But good call, Simon. John Nuttall, Steve, Simply Diagnostics says salad. He would. Look, what's it say on the back of this mug? You're awesome. Top bloke. I should try and refine my Steve chuckle, actually, shouldn't I? Now then, Pete Woodfine. Andy, things change and everyone has to stay in date. Also, it's going to be better because everything is being done by the book and legal. Yes. As much as I can possibly do it, I'm covering all the bases. And one thing I didn't mention is once that list is done, it's sent through to NZTA and they've processed it all, I'm actually going to issue a letter to each technician. It'd be probably an email each technician, because I've got all their email addresses, which will explain what their responsibilities are directly to the technician. And it'll also state that the right to do the PDIs on that particular brand of vehicle will extinguish if they leave employment from that dealership. End of story. Job done. And they have to notify me directly if they leave employment. So I can obviously take the necessary actions. And that way it'll tidy the whole thing up, because at the moment it was, well, since I started, it's been very loose, and it's a very responsible thing as PDI. You're putting a brand new vehicle on the public road for the very first time. It has to be right. You don't want any accidents. You don't want calipers falling off or wheels falling off. That would be bad. Now then, Mike Adams, howdy all. Sorry I'm late. I just finished mowing. It's too cold to mow here, I tell you that. But somebody will be out with a weed blower, with a leaf blower shortly. You wait. Jim Haynes, he wore a hole through, pretty much. Yes. Simon, the thing is, if NZTA pull a bike in to inspect it, we authorise techs to do it to today's standards. It's going to be right. Exactly. Oh, nearly there. I'm nearly caught up. Jim Haynes. Do the go-kart kids own cars yet? Do the go-kart. Oh, yeah, funny. It's still hanging from the sea. I did think about it the other day, actually. Yeah. I need to get Alan's Triumph out of the way, don't I? Get that done first, and then we'll tackle the go-kart. Yeah. It's been there a few years now, hasn't it? Looking forward to doing it now. Right, I think, from memory, the votes have all finished, so I think the beast wins, which I'm quite pleased about. I think it does anyway, I'm sure it does. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, we're going to go with Irvin's The Beast, mince and cheese. We should go and double check, we haven't done it already actually. We'll go and double check and we'll stick it in the thingy. So I'll take it out of the bag and then we can pop it straight into the pie warmer. Right, here we go. So we'll do a quick scan around the pie, assuming this is the one that's going to be cooked. Dum 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 dum. Pretty good. Pretty structurally integral, isn't it? Look at that. It's not bad. A bit of a dent down there, though. What's going on there? Oh, it's got a little tiny hole in the bottom there, look, where the pastry's got creased. Lid's pretty good. They've gone for the little vent holes as well. Good job, people. Right, okay, let's have a wander and see if we've done the beast mince and cheese, just to double check. Turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom! Okay, here we go. I bet Mrs. Mechanic's watching this, actually, because she did wake up early this morning. Yesterday was a very special day for us. Oh, hang on. Right, so it'll start Irvin's, steak and cheese, Irvin's, bacon, egg, and Irvin's. Nope, not on that one. Irvin's, the beast mince pie. That's right. So we've got mince and cheese now. So I don't think we've done it. The beast, beef, bacon, Irvin's potato top, nasty. Irvin's the beast, steak and cheese. Irvin's 6-pack steak and cheese. No, we haven't done it. Right. So we're on. We're good. Okay, so into the pie warmer we go. Like a brick. 23 minutes. No, I've not cleaned it yet. Oh, I saw a mouse in the back porch this morning, contemplating coming into the workshop. Not a good idea. Right, turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. There we go. Okay, the pie is in. We've gone for Irvin's the Beast mince and cheese. Hungry already, I am. Right, picture's good, audio's good, I think so. Here we go. Hang on a minute. Purple Monkey 1974. Oh, it's just been retracted. What the hell? Simon Roll. Well, the go-kart kids will be old enough to have a Banshee engine in it now. They probably will, actually. They probably will. We'll have to reconsider what engine we're going to put in, won't we? And I might have to make the frame a little bit stronger to cope with that. Oh, pardon me. Mike Adams. I've never had an issue with bleeding calipers, nor wheel cylinders. I've either new or remanufactured. Well, Mike, you've not lived the life that I have then. I remember, this is how dumb it is sometimes, right, on vehicles. On the Suzuki Samurai, which is basically an SJ413 but wider axles, a Spanish version, on the Spanish ones, the wheel cylinders were at the bottom of the brake drums, right, on the backing plate. And the bleed nipple was at the bottom of the wheel cylinder. Yes. How is that going to work? Honestly, they were an absolute nightmare to try and bleed up. They really were. I can't remember what we did in the end, but we worked out a way of doing it. Maybe we backbled it. I think we backbled them. But like you do mountain bikes, where we pushed the fluid back up to the master cylinder. Yes. Using a syringe, a very large syringe. But yeah, they were a shit. And we didn't do it for very long because we quickly decided to convert the rear brakes from drum brake to disc brake anyway. And I designed a kit to do that for all of our little Suzuki Jeeps. And it was a brilliant conversion. It made the brakes so much better. And they were all self-adjusting as well, being calipers, you know, so we didn't have any problems of having to take the drums off and, you know, readjust the brake shoes because they'd worn a bit, because the auto adjusters never used to work very well. They were crap, to be honest. Jim Haynes, have you ever been able to attack anything with Big Nasty? I haven't, Jim. It's still in the drawer. I haven't actually had a job yet which really warranted using something with that kind of force. I am looking forward to it, though. I really am, and it'll definitely be a video. We will definitely do a video on that. I'm quite keen to see how it feels, you know, the just having that massive amount of hammering force. Should be good. Should be really good. That combined with that big Makita impact wrench, man, we've got some gear here now. We really have. Very impressed. Nobby Noble. Evening. Just add a warm Yorkshire pork pie for me. Oh, just add a warm Yorkshire pork pie from me local butchers. Ooh, a warm pork pie. That sounds fantastic. Sound roll. Do you get bad rust in New Zealand? Not really. The biggest problem with New Zealand, I've actually had a case that I've been dealing with currently, actually, still going on. New Zealand has a lot of coastline, right? It's very wiggly as the coast. So the distance is huge. And quite a lot of the cities, especially Auckland, is on the coast, not inland. It's actually right on the coast. And yeah, people tend to obviously live very, very close to the sea. It's quite humid. It can be quite warm, which tends to, especially in the summer months, tends to, the salt air coming off the sea combined with the warm air, it tends to, really speed up the corrosion problems. And sometimes people will, even with relatively new vehicles, still within warranty, for example, not saying any names, may decide to leave their, let's say, motorcycle on their driveway rather than in a cool, dry garage, and only maybe living a stone's throw from the sea, which is full of salt, and then wonder, and take no preventative measures whatsoever to help protect the vehicle against the extreme environment that they currently live in, and then wonder why only a few months later the vehicle starts to develop rusting on certain components. So yeah, we do get rust, but normally it's not severe. But obviously at some point in the past, and it was probably when we got a lot of Japanese vehicles, sort of parallel imports coming in, which weren't properly rust proofed. This is going back a long time, and I didn't live in New Zealand back then. And those vehicles probably weren't undersealed. They didn't have any kind of rust proofing on them. And, in Auckland, they would have rusted pretty quick. And the reason why I say this is when you go for a warrant of fitness, and if you read the VERM, which is the Bible for warrant of fitness, it's the guide, it's extremely forceful on the rust issues. And inspectors will fail your vehicle even for surface rust. Anything, obviously underbody, any kind of surface rust that's developing. If it's extremely light, they'll give you a warning. But even way before it comes anything like structural, they'll still fail the vehicle. And they're extremely conservative when it comes to rust. They really, really do not like rust here in New Zealand. And that's sort of built a bit of a culture. Not a culture to prevent the rust, but a culture to complain about it and be aware of it. It's a bit of an issue, to be honest. It really is. Would you consider the vehicle, if it wasn't suitable for the environment of New Zealand, because most of the country is on the coast, if it was to rust within within a year of it being manufactured or sold, is it fit for purpose for use in New Zealand? I believe it is. I believe if you're going to use a vehicle very close to the coastline on a very regular basis, i.e. you live there and it's parked there for the majority of its time, because your vehicle's parked most of the time, isn't it? You're not driving all the time. Then I think it's up to the owner to be aware of the additional problems and take measures. And there's lots of rust prevention products available here in New Zealand for that very purpose. So somebody opened another can of worms. Anyway, not elaborating, not giving any names away or brands or anything like that. It's just saying that yes, New Zealand has a lot of salt water and a lot of houses near the salt water, and a lot of those houses have cars and motorcycles and stuff parked there. And it can cause rust. There's a quick summary for you. Now then, Jim, did I say I like the calendar again? Very good, Jim. I do like the calendar too, actually. It's very nice. Good thick paper. It's very well made. It is very good. Jim. Oh, done that one already. Did I say I like the calendar again? You did. Purple Monkey, 1974. Warrants needed from year one. As you know, first MOT in the UK is 3 years. Yes, a brand new vehicle here in New Zealand does get a warrant of fitness done as soon as it gets its number plates put on. Basically, a number plate if it's a motorcycle. And it has to go out with a valid warrant. But that warrant is valid for 3 years. And realistically, there is no reason why it should fail the warrant of fitness. None whatsoever. Unless, of course, the headlight's not adjusted properly. But that's part of the PDI, right? So dealers should be doing that. Simon, Love reading the UK MOT book 7.7. Audible warning, horn must not be going. What? You mean it shouldn't be on all the time? Is that what you... No, it really shouldn't be on all the time. You're also, I believe, for an MOT, you're not allowed to have... you can have a two-tone horn, provided the tones are simultaneous. But you can't have it alternating tone, like an old school police car, you know, nee, no, that kind of thing. You can't have that. And you certainly can't have your Dukes of Hazzard air horns, which is a bit of a shame. But you can have them, but you just have them on a separate switch, right? You know, and don't tell the MOT guy that that's the switch. The normal horn button must activate the normal horn. But yes. It must not be a gong. Must not be a gong. Sorry, I read that as going. Must not. Yes. You can have the old, the old hooter horn, though, can't you? I think I remember fitting those to some of my old dirt bikes. To get it through the MOT, my XR200 had one of those. Yes, because the horn didn't. I don't think it had a horn on it from new. It was just an enduro bike, so I just clamped one of those on the handlebars, and it worked. I mean, it didn't stay on for very long, but it passed the MOT because of it. But yes, no, you can't have a gong. That's interesting, isn't it? What you can and can't have as an audible warning device. And shouting at people doesn't count. You can't just say, "Oi, get out of the way! I'm going to run you over." That doesn't work either. They won't accept that. Man, that's a very cold coffee. Holy crap. Overbuilt automotive. Most governments just go out of their way to be dorks. I think, yeah. My take on it, really, if we're going back to PDI stuff, is the thought process is in the right direction, but they haven't really finished the job. They've sort of said, "Oh, you're responsible for this," as an importer. But then they've done other stuff in the background or allowed other avenues to authorize PDI inspectors, which circumnavigates the importer themselves. And that is fundamentally flawed. It cannot happen in my book. And I've told NZTA that if they take it upon themselves to issue PDI authority to a technician who then happens to do a PDI on said brand of vehicle, they will not be permitted, and no responsibility will be taken by the importer, because the importer's completely unaware that that technician even exists and that he's got the PDI, has been given PDI authority. It's because the importer becomes responsible for that technician's actions the second they become an authorized PDI inspector by NZTA. But they may not realize that or be advised. There's no process in place to inform the importer that that's happened. And secondly, so I know we're going off on stuff we've already talked about, but secondly, when NZTA appoint a PDI inspector, there is absolutely no background checks done. There's no question of what's your experience, what's your skill set, how long you worked in the industry. There is none of that. It's just, oh, your name's John, there's your login. Good luck. And that's wrong. It doesn't matter how you look at it, it's completely wrong. Anyway. Mr. Nuttall, I once had a Vectra flywheel starter ring gear rubbed through the pipe on a hydraulic clutch after having a new clutch fitted. So they maybe knocked something or bent something or, didn't quite put it back together properly. That's not ideal, is it? Not ideal at all. Talking of clutches, Mrs. Mechanic's been watching a little series of these two people, I think they're American, doing a trip on monkey bikes. And one of the riders, the gentleman, allowed his motorcycle to fall over off the stand, and it broke the clutch lever. And they were in this back and beyond place, Mexico or somewhere, I don't know where it was, but they were in the middle of nowhere. I went to this backstreet workshop, and the guy there was like, initially was like, can't fix it. We haven't got a clutch lever for one of them. And then they sort of pleaded with him, and then he dug out an old motorbike that he had, and he modified the clutch lever off that to fit. So there's a little story for you, and he was back on the road. But also, just they were complaining that the same monkey bike that Mrs. Mechanic has, same model. I think they were a little bit older, different paintwork. They were complaining that they were so hard to start, and then you could see them on the video winding the throttle right back whilst they're cranking the engine. And it's like, no, it's fuel injected. You don't touch the throttle when you're cranking a fuel injected vehicle, you know. The ECU sorts it all out. All you're doing is confusing the crap out of it. Anyway, about 4 or 5 days into the trip, somebody told them that, and hey presto, the bikes start mint now. Yes, lesson learned. Oh, I'm getting hungry. I really am. So, plan of attack for today, those that have just joined us, I have got, well, me and Mr. Mechanic have got 104 large steel plates to spray paint. That'll be fun, and it's cold. So hopefully the paint will be all right. We have noticed actually when we do spray when it's really cold, the paint develops, because it's a black paint, it develops a bit of a misty sort of finish to it, almost like a foggy finish, which is probably still trapped moisture in it or something that hasn't had a chance to evaporate away. I don't know. Hopefully we won't get that today, but I don't know. Let's wait and see. We've pretty much used up all of the contaminated paint, so I won't be using I say contaminated. I did those that have just joined us, I mixed 2 different brands of paint together by accident yesterday, both black. And it turned out great. I mean, look, that's been dipped and it was absolutely spot on. No runs, no nothing. And it was sort of a satiny stroke glossy finish because one paint was satin and one was gloss. It came out fine. They'll do the job. That's all that matters. But when I spray the big plates, that'll be the full 100% Hempel paint. I'm not going to risk trying to mix that with anything else. We've got a bit more dipping to do. And then Monday, I have to go to Napier, down State Highway 5, which only just still exists because of all the landslides and stuff. There's a lot of places where you're down to single carriageway, you know, just one lane and there's traffic lights and stuff. So that'll be quite an arduous journey to get over there. I've got a visit to do and an engine to drop off, actually, that I picked up from Auckland on Friday. And then the rest of the week, Thursday, I'm going to Field Days. Now, Field Days is... it's the biggest one. It's the one in Hamilton, or just outside, in a place called Misery Creek. It's really called Mystery Creek, but everybody calls it Misery Creek, which is where all the tractors, and it's a big agricultural show thing, and there's all the motorcycle dealers there, you know, importers there, and quad bikes and ROVs and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be quite interesting to have a wander around. And there's lots of tool companies as well, so I might be tempted to buy something. Maybe we'll wait and see. But for the rest of the week, so Friday and the other days, probably just doing admin work. I don't think I'll be going up to Auckland next week. I'm hoping not, because obviously it burns a lot of time driving up there and coming back. And then next weekend, I'll be finishing the ROV. I'll be doing the welding. I won't be doing it today because I'm spraying. I'll finish the ROV, and I think we'll be packing all these plates into kits so they can go up to Auckland the following week. No, not the following week. No, the 19th. So a week tomorrow, I'm going to the South Island. Jeez, but I'm flying down. I've got some training to do down there. We've had a couple of dealerships change ownership, and got to crack on with the training, make sure they're all set up properly and they've got everything they need to do what they need to do. Because they're already existing dealerships, it's not too bad. It's not as urgent, hence the slight delay. But I'll be away for the whole week. So maybe it'll be the week after I finish take the ROV back to Auckland and the plates. I don't know. Let's wait and see, won't we? See what I can fit in. It's going to be a nightmare. Where do we get to? Oh, hang on. MF50B. He doesn't care for the time of year or paper quality of the calendar. He likes the best. Yes. You had to spell out the obvious, obviously, but understood, granted, and I concur. Right, that's that dealt with. JJ, Andy, get a cheap microwave in the workshop. to rewarm your cold coffee. 20 to 30 seconds on high, the ding, and you're sorted. No more cold coffee. That's a very good idea. It is. I'll look for an old microwave. We'll see if we can organise that. John Nuttall, leave the plates on top of the compressor. To warm them up. Ooh, that's an idea. Don't know. Might jangle around a bit though. We'll see. Pete Woodfine. Andy, if the metal is cold and you are using an aerosol campaign, warm the metal up first. Jeez, we could maybe bring a heater out here and stick a couple on top of the heater and just rotate them through. That might just take the edge off a little bit. That might work. Good idea. We'll do that because a heater in the workshop is a good idea today anyway. So yes, we'll organise that. I've got an old heater in the shed that I can bring in. That it doesn't matter if it gets, wrecked. Basically, it's already wrecked. Vijayant, just put your coffee in the pie warmer for a short time to warm up your coffee. Might crack the mug like that. It's pretty intense, radiant heat. Is that one? But I don't know. I don't want to damage Steve's mug. Hard to replace. John, then spray one by one. Okay, sounds good. We'll do that. Thank you, John. Simon, the best broken clutch lever I have ever seen was my mate Tony. Snapped off right down. So he drilled and tapped a long M6 bolt into it. The full bike was like that. Police seized it in the end. I'm not surprised. God. Oh no. There are bodges and there are bodges, right? That's a good idea though. To get you out of trouble, I like that idea. Pretty neat bit of drilling going on there as well. Simon, or a USB cup warmer. Oh, that's a good idea. That'll probably fry my little laptop. Oh, mind you, I could run it off the power supply for the thingy. Yes, we could do that. A USB cup warmer. Good idea. Gary Hills, did you fix your mate's T140, Andy? Well, I've stripped it down. Almost. It's not yet fixed. It's currently pushed out into the garden because of the live stream. I need the workshop space for spraying, so it got pushed out this morning. I've got the special tools, so I'm told to pull the primary apart now, and then I can finish the inspection, work out what parts we need, get the parts ordered, and then it can go back together. And the plan of attack is for me to take the engine, or maybe the whole bike, I don't know yet, down to Invercargill, where Stu is based, who's the service manager for Rogers Yamaha. And Stu has done many of those gearboxes in the past, and he offered very kindly to do it with me, so I can glean some of his knowledge base on that particular model of bike, because I've never worked on one before, and I'd like to learn a bit more about them the right way. And he's very, very good at mechanics. He's not so good at electrics, but he's very good at engines and gearboxes and stuff. And he's going to retire soon, so it'd be great to get him on video, and he's very happy for it to be filmed. So I plan to go down there for a weekend and spend a weekend doing it. But I need to get all the parts and work out what we're doing and logistics and that kind of thing. And I know it's a very long way to go. It really, really is. So I don't know how I'm going to plan that yet, but something's going to happen. Oh, some news. Did I mention this before? I'm not sure I did. So the next adventure trip is planned to be in one of the rechargeable electric four-wheel ride-in with a roof, handlebar controls, what they call a Paxter. Paxster. So you can Google it. Paxter vehicle. Now, I did some research and I found out that only New Zealand Post here in New Zealand have these vehicles. They've got a lot of them, and they deliver the letters with them in urban areas, rather than use the old postie bikes, the little Honda CT110s and stuff. They're probably a health and safety thing. They decided that they're a safer machine and they can carry more load and they can do bigger rounds and that kind of stuff. I don't know, but it turns out that only New Zealand Post have the right to have them road registered. NZTA issued them an exemption. I'm not too sure what the exemption, why they had to have an exemption, but they say they had to have an exemption. They didn't meet compliance standards, but that allowed New Zealand Post to put them on the road and use them for delivering letters. So obtaining one of these vehicles is going to be quite difficult. The only source would be an ex-New Zealand Post vehicle. And I don't think yet they're old enough to be sold off. I don't know. There might be a crash damaged one that we can maybe purchase. Or they're probably going to deregister it when they sell it anyway. So I have to come up with a oh, there's the pie. I have to come up with a cunning plan of how to get it re-registered. Or as a plan B, register it as an ATV. Now that would be farm rego, which would be a little bit dodgy, but where we're going is pretty much farmland. So maybe we can get away with that. But I am investigating it, and there's still a few hurdles to get through, whether we're going to get one or not, but hopefully we can work things out. Fingers crossed. Anyway, where do we get to? Pete Woodfine. Andy, a hot torch. I saw that on a TV show, and it was a tip from Alan Millard. I do watch his videos. He's a very clever chap. Yeah, and he likes his hedgehogs and birds as well. Good bloke. Yeah, hot torch. Warming them. Now maybe on the heater. I think is probably the best idea. We'll just stick them on the heater, and maybe one in the pie warmer. I don't know. We'll work it out. But you're right. I mean, the paint discoloration doesn't really matter for the application. It's just there to protect the metal. It doesn't matter what colour the paint is, as long as it works. So I'm not too concerned, but we'll give it a go. If it really slows down the spraying process, because they're quite big plates, they could take a while to warm up, then we might have to abort mission, but we'll definitely give it a go. It's definitely worth a go. Mrs. Mechanic wouldn't be happy putting a few in the oven in the house. Definitely not. So don't even mention that. She would remove my left testicle if I did that. Overbuilt Automotive. Hey, Andy. Sounds like a cool plan. I look forward to seeing the video of you learning from the guy. I think so. I do. I think it'd be a great. I mean, it could be more than one video. There'll be a few that we'll film over that weekend until we get the whole thing buttoned up. But I'm very much looking forward to it. I know there are some delays in getting it done, but I think it'd be worth it in the end. I do. Gary Hills. Cheers, Andy. Cheers, Gary. John Nuttall. Fire suit needed. Fire suit. Oh yes, for the electric vehicle. Yeah, maybe, especially where we're going with it. Who knows? Right, let's go and grab this pie, and we'll do a pie review. Right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay. God, it's cold in here. I am getting cold now. Jeez. Please put my coat on. Dum 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 dum. Dum dum dum. There he is. Ooh, nice and warm in the pie warmer. Oh, we've got a little crack down there on the side there. Look. Okay. Oh, and it's opened up a bit underneath as well. Thermal expansion. Right. So, those that have just joined us, it's the Irvin's The Beast mince and cheese. And we haven't done one of these before. I probably had one in the past. Oh, geez, need to drop the phone. I'm just going to put this back on charge for a bit because I did... Hang on a minute. Hang on. Bear with me. Terrible photography, Andy. There we go. I think we're on... Oh, we're down to 40%. That's not good. Okay, we're back. Right, can you see? I think you can see. That's good. Got the calendar in shot. Yes, excellent. Right. Okay, quick spin round. It's going to get cold pretty quick, so we'll crack on. So we've got a crack just there. Not too bad. Any more? No. Oh, maybe a little one just starting there, look. Underneath, this bit is very, very soft. That crack, oh, look at that. So we'll have to start on that corner, I think. I don't want the pie falling apart. So there we go. Okay, so Irvin's The Beast, mince and cheese. Big taste, they claim. So we'll find out. This is probably going to burn my mouth, but anyway, we'll give it a go. Oh, the steam. It's hot. Now, there is lots of cheese. There is heaps of cheese. And it's too hot to keep going. Because with that cheese being there, cheese is red hot, right? Okay, we'll stick that over there for now. So, first bite, pretty tasty actually. With that big dollop of cheese in there as well. It's pretty good. Any more comments? Nope, we're all good. I heard a mouse. He scampered under the door. Little miceies like to come inside when it's cold. And we had one in the kitchen the other night. And we heard him chewing. He was chewing something. Little bastard. We'll have him. See, good call to start there, look. That bit just fell off. That's pretty tasty. I know I'm cold and I'm really hungry, so that's going to add to the taste, isn't it, obviously? That's pretty good. For a mince and cheese pie, this is probably the best mince and cheese pie I've ever had. I'm not really a fan of mince and cheese. I like steak. But nice big chunks of meat as well, look, as regards mince. It's not that really fine, granular stuff that some cheap pies put in. Not bad at all. I'm going to give them an 8. And that might change. Now, structure fully partners. It's too early to tell, but it has already lost a couple of marks from all the cracks. We've got a few more cracks developing now. The pastry on the base is quite brittle. It's not ideal. Runnability. We'll do another bite, and then we'll do the runnability test. I'm not too sure how well it'll fare with all that cheese in there, actually. It's still quite molten. Okay. This will set me up well for the day. Okay. 45 degrees, 30 seconds. Here we go. Is it moving? Can you see any movement? That's a pretty good 45 degrees going on there. It's sort of just hanging in there. I think only just it's a pass. I can't see any movement going on. But it's got a few sort of big droopy bits coming out, but they're not going any further. So just. Only just. Okay. I'm going to give it a 9, because if you got a little bit enthusiastic waving your pie around, I think you'd lose a bit. So we'll give it a 9 for that, for runnability. It's not rock solid like some of the pies have done. Meat quality. Well, so far, so good. It's pretty tasty. Actually, the meat tastes good. I've had no gristles so far. So mince, gonna base it on mince. Pretty good quality mince. 10. 10, I think 10 so far. It couldn't really better that much better, really. Pie to crust ratio. Well, if I just lift the lid back up again with my fingers, there we are. The pastry isn't over thick. I mean, the base is quite thin. The sides are relatively thin as well. And the lid isn't over thick. The lid's probably about, maybe at the very most, about 4 or 5 mil in the middle. That's about the thickest part of the lid. It has sunk down an awful lot as the pie, I must admit. You can see where it should have been up here, look. But that's helping to keep it warm, because there's no air void in there. So good design. So, pie to crust ratio. It's not bad. Could it be better? Things can always be slightly better, can't they? I'm going to give it... So, contents to pastry. I'll give it an 8. I think 8's fair on that one. Now, next one's availability stroke logistics. Hang on, another bite. That was hot. Now, Irving's pies. They're very popular here in New Zealand. You can pick them up from most supermarkets. A lot of dairies sell them. Petrol stations, not so much. They tend to have their own brand. Like, you know, the Wild Bean Cafe, for example. Oh, or side note, the Wild Bean Cafe steak and cheese, I was told they were going to discontinue it. It's still going for now. To be fair, the quality, I've had a couple that have been a bit gristly in the last couple of weeks. So whether things are slipping there or not, I don't know. But they have brought out a steak, cheese, and bacon. I tried it, didn't really like it. I know it had bacon in it. Why on earth would I not like steak, cheese, and bacon from Wild Bean Cafe? But the bacon tasted a bit weird. So I actually preferred just a standard steak and cheese. So, supermarkets, so you can get it online. But the ones from the supermarkets are not heated, obviously. Only the ones from dairies are heated in the cabinets. So, £7. I think £7's about fair. Because they're not available at every dairy. Only some dairies. You know, there's a lot of brands of pies in New Zealand, and dairies tend to just buy whatever's available or cheapest or what the customers want, you know. Pastry taste rating. Well, it's pretty basic pastry. There's no seasoning on top. There's nothing like that. It's just pastry. So, there's no weird aftertaste, but it does just taste like pastry. There's nothing additional there. It's just a pastry taste. But it's relatively crispy. It's nice. Sort of melts in the mouth. It's not over dry, which is good. So, 8. I think 8. Actually, we're getting some good scores today, aren't we? Still tastes when cold. It's not cold yet, but it will be cold soon. That's a good pie. Now, packaging design. Very colourful and colour-coded as well. They use different colour bands to indicate what the pie is, the contents. On this one, orange being mince and cheese. I forget what the other ones are. It's got the window so you can see what you're buying, which is great. It's got a perforated bag so you can cook it in the bag, and if it's in a pie warmer, it has to stay in the bag. It doesn't sweat and get all mushy and horrible. So they put a bit of thought into that as well. And there's a lot of information on the back about how good the pies are. I like to boast about that. And they also give us information. Oh, yeah. Why are you reading this when you're literally seconds away from satisfaction? You could read the ingredients, but you know the drill. Meat, pastry, cheese, etc. Open packet, heat pie, eat pie, hunger done, easy. It's pretty fair, isn't it? Link to their Facebook page. Give you all the ingredients, tell you how to warm it up, microwave, oven, pie warmer. Oh, pie warmer, you see. Good. So yeah, lots of made in New Zealand, so lots of good things going on there. Pretty well designed packaging, to be honest. So, have they got? Yes, they've got all that on there as well. Oh, 9. We'll give them a 9. I've seen better. 9's pretty good. These are high scores. It'll take some adding up later on, won't it? Oh, recyclable score. Dispose of thoughtfully, it says on the back of there, which means it's not recyclable. There, look. Put it in the bin, but make sure you put it in the bin. So, they've told us to put it in the bin. Do we give them a 1? They've told us, haven't they? We'll give them a 1. It's not recyclable. We'll give them a 1 for that. Post pie heartburn. Too early to tell. Stuffability score. Too early to tell. Pie server attractiveness. Local petrol station. I'll give her a 6. I'll give her a 6. 6 is fair enough. I won't elaborate. 6 is enough. Right, bit more. It's cooling down now. Now, Mrs. Mechanic, if you're watching, can I have another coffee, please? Because this one, I'm not even going to go there. It's way too cold. This is doing pretty well, to be honest. I wonder what size pie it is. What's the weight? Do they give us the weight? Yes, 210 grams. So it's. I always say that the average pie weight here in New Zealand is about 200 grams. So it is just slightly larger, heavier than your average. But to call it the beast, I think it's a bit far-fetched. If it was a 300 gram pie, that to me would validate the beast title. Oh, we nearly lost a bit. Hang on. Bear with me. I've got to scroll back. You guys have been busy. I've been ignoring the comments. John Nuttall, did you just say... Did you just say start on that corner? Yeah, it's round. Sorry. Nick Young, 961, The Beast. John Nuttall, hit the like button. Thank you, John. Simon, so what's the next pie over the steak and cheeses from BP? I like the pepper steak. Actually, the pepper steak is always my go-to pie if they haven't got any steak and cheese. And sometimes, every now and again, even if they've got the steak and cheese, I'll get the pepper steak. I know, weird, isn't it? But I do like them. They're all right. And the pepper, I'm not a fan of pepper, but in that particular combination, it works really well. It does give it a very strong flavour. As it's cooling down, you're getting, as the mince is cooling, you get that more of a mincy flavour, which detracts it away from the steak. When it was red hot, couldn't really tell the difference, only the fact that the meat was smaller pieces. Now, Overbuilt Automotive. Now, Andy, got a pie for you. A Tennessee Mountain Man Special. Ooh, that sounds good. Premium corn-fed opossum chopped meat. A meat pie with sweet peas, cheddar, and gravy. Hee-haw, dagman it. Good. Sorry, I couldn't do the accent there. If I'd done the accent, it would have read much better, I'm sure. Pretty good. Oh, hang on. We've got a delivery. Bear with me. Bit of a mess. Hang on a second. Oh. Boom. Ooh, look at that. Thank you, darling. Nice nails, by the way. Right. Oh. Yes. Oh, yesterday was our anniversary. Not the YouTube channel anniversary. Me and Mrs. Mechanic. We've been together 34 years and married for 28 years. How's that? Pretty damn good, isn't it? I know. I can hear you saying she's really tolerant. She must be, honestly. Right. We'll get rid of that. I've had a bit of a spillage. And I was going to lick it on camera, but I can't do that, can I? I'll save it for later. I'll save it for off camera. I'll lick that bit of cheese off. Okay, the last bit. Here we go. There was a big dollop of cheese in that one. That was pretty good, actually. Pretty good. Well done, Irvins. You've finally given me a pie that I actually really like. I would definitely have another one of those. Not obviously straight away, but I would definitely eat another one of those. I will maybe get a few and put them in the freezer. Be a good idea. Okay, Structure Foley Partners. It wasn't perfect. Didn't require much management. I didn't feel happy eating it just single-handed though. It just felt like it was just going to break up. 7. Is that a bit harsh? 7. No, I'll give it an 8. What the hell? Let's give it an 8. Right. Wasn't bad. Still tasty when cold. I think it would be actually not too bad when it's cold. The cheese was very tasty, and that always helps. The mince was good quality. There was no gristles in there whatsoever. So would I eat one of those cold? Find it in the glove box a few days later? Yes, I would. Without a shadow of a doubt, I would be straight in there. It would solve the hunger problem at the time. So yes, still tasty when cold. How tasty? I think it'd be okay. I'll give it Oh, but I'll give it a 7, I think, for that. Post pie heartburn. Well, we've had 1 burp so far, so it's down to 9. We might get some more yet. We'll see. Stuffability score. It did the trick. I'm not hungry at the moment. It's done. Oh, I thought there was another burp then. It's done the job. It's done okay. I'm not overstuffed. I'm not like, oh, I can't be spraying now. I'm too full. And I'm not like, I could just do with some toast and jam or Marmite. I'm not thinking about that. So it's done its trick. I'm going to give it, and it's not often we do this, it sort of hit the nail on the head. I'm going to give it 10 out of 10. Well done, Irvins. 10 out of 10. That pie did the trick. Even though it's not the largest of pies that we've done done some much larger pies than that. It did okay. It did. And there's still a little bit of cheese on there that I've not eaten yet. So it's done pretty well. Cheers. Oh, right. Quick catch up with the comments, and then we'll do some arithmetic. Jim K, make sure you put some money in Mrs. Mechanic's account. I gave her all my money the other day. I have no money. Well, a little bit, but you know. Shh, don't tell Mrs. Mechanic. Simon, watch out. Oh, sorry, without giving it away, what is the fall off count for the monkey bike ride? Less than 50. Oh, Simon. Yes, it's less than 50. I can tell you that. Mrs. Mechanic won't mind me telling. I think if she'd fallen off more than 50 times, I think she'd probably be in hospital. She wouldn't have made it to the bottom of the South Island. So it is definitely less than 50. But there's quite a few. Simon Roll, happy anniversary. Thank you, Simon. Overbuilt Automotive. Now, that's coffee service. Congratulations on your anniversary. God bless you too. Thank you very much, Overbuilt Automotive. I do appreciate that. We're in it for the long haul, you know. Yeah, we've had ups and downs. I'm not going to elaborate. We've had ups and downs like all couples do, you know. And I ask an awful lot of her. And, you know, she's always come to the table and helped. Team player. Does a great job. She does. She's a good lass. Thank you, Mrs. Mechanic, for putting it on me for all these years. Now then, where do we get to? Vijayant Governor, happy anniversary. Thank you, Vijayant. Pete Woodfine, happy anniversary to you both. Many more years to come. I hope so. Still got lots of work to do. It takes a lot longer on my own. No, I'm only kidding. No, it's great to have her around, and yeah, she's a good lass. She really is. She's not baked me a pie yet, though. I'm trying to get her to make pies. I think she'd do really well, mate, because she's good at baking. She's not very good at warming chips up. She burnt the chips last night, didn't you, Mrs. Mechanic? But we it was our anniversary night, and we got distracted, right? So things happen. So it wasn't really her fault. And strictly speaking, it was the oven that burnt the chips, wasn't it? Bottom line. Now then, Overbuilt Automotive. Andy, has there been a pie so gross you could not finish eating it? Yes, there was one, and I can't remember what it was. It was that in fact, no, I think I did eat that one and regretted it afterwards. But there was one in Culverden, and it was what was it called? It had some weird name, some like hill farmer or mountaineer or some weird bizarre name. And we did I actually did the video on site. It's on the channel somewhere. And it was incredibly greasy. It fell apart into a million pieces, and I had terrible indigestion afterwards. It was just something wild man. I don't know, but it was just never ever stopping Culverden ever again to buy a pie. It was just nasty. But I think I finished it. I think I did. But there was one that was so bad that I didn't eat. I just had a couple of bites and thought, nah, screw this, I'm not eating this. This is just, I'll just leave it and get one from somewhere else and just put it in the bin. It was that bad. It was not nice at all. It wasn't here in the workshop. It was out somewhere. Mike Adams, a preacher told me once, the quickest way to learn to remember your wedding anniversary, this will be useful, your wife's and kids' birthdays and Valentine's Day, is to forget it one time, you won't forget it again. It doesn't work for me. Unfortunately, Valentine's Day, I remember, right? Because it's, it's the 14th of February. Last time I checked. But all the others, kids' birthdays, I sort of remember those. Oh, another burp. Hang on. We're going to go down a bit. I'm going to put that down to 7 because it is actually repeating quite a bit. But the wedding anniversary, I forget it every year. I'm not perfect, right? I'm not. I'm a bloke and I forget stuff. Overbuilt Automotive, Mike, A+++, I think so. Simon, there will be a few of us on the stream that think that we are lucky to have a missus that put up with us. We have that one person who is always there when you need them. Yes, you're right, Simon. She is always there when I need her. Always. The answer's never no. There might be the odd grumble now and again, but she always comes to the table and helps out. And I say grumble, I mean, it's very infrequent. And maybe the job that I asked her to do is not particularly nice, but she just gets on with it, And she just does the best she possibly can, and she's a huge help. It would take me so much longer to do all this stuff without her help. It really would. Yeah, she's awesome, to be honest. Where do we get to? Overbuilt Automotive. A pie so bad the possum raccoons would not eat it. Lol. That's bad. Yeah, pretty much. Andy, chat. Got to run. By all, be blessed. You too, sir. Have a nice day. Right, we need to do some arithmetic, don't we? Okay, let's get set up for that. Get rid of the cold coffee. Have another slurp of the hot coffee. Oh, that's real coffee, that is. That's not your instant coffee. That's a coffee plunger thing. Okay, going down. Oh, turning around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Terrible photography, Andy, as always. Not as bad as Ivan's, though. Okay, we do jest. Okay, so we've got 16, 25, 35, 43, 50, 58, 65, 74, 75, 82, 92, 98. That's a good score. And I did drop down the heartburn score as well. So what do we say? 90. Oh no, what did I say? Was it 98? I think it was 98. Should we double check? So 16, 25, 35, 43, 50, 58, 58, 65, 74, 75, 82, 92, 98. You were right. What a memory. Terrible. Okay, so it's Irvin's. Are we on camera? We are on camera. How do you spell Irvin's? I-N-E-S. The Beast. Because they do a line of pies that are not the Beast as well. So the Beast, mince and cheese. And we're going to go with 98 as a score. Wow. And it was very tasty. Underlined. Okay, let's go and pop this on the scoreboard and see where it ends up. It's going to be somewhere near the top, isn't it? It's going to do bloody well. I am impressed. I'm actually quite relieved that Irvin's have finally come up with a pie that I actually really like. Because all the other ones have not been that great, to be honest. Okay, 98 in there somewhere. So we'll stick that up there for a second. We need to move 2 down. So we've got Wild Bean Cafe, you've been trumped. Classic steak and cheese, which is not bad. It's not a bad pie, but it's not a great pie. Because it's the classic. It's not the gourmet. Okay, So we've not got any other pies with that score. So it's a unique one as well. Irvin's The Beast, mince and cheese, 98. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's number 11 on the best pies in New Zealand. Pretty good. And don't forget, that includes, don't forget, the logistics and all that kind of stuff as well, where you can get them from. It's not just based on taste. I think if it was based just on the taste of the actual pie itself, it probably would have scored, be a bit higher up in the rankings, because, I mean, some of these Wild Bean Cafe, these are, this is readily available at any BP across New Zealand. Again, same with this one. So if you took out the logistics, they would drop down a little bit, and that would probably come up. Pretty good. Another pie on the pie board. Wow. We were going to stop doing this, but it's too much fun. I enjoy it. Every now and again. Morning, Lily. Right. Back to the bench. Boom, 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 boom. Look. I'm not going to eat it. We'll give it to Mousy. Look, bit of cheese. We'll put it in the bin. I'm not going to lick that off there now. The moment has passed. So it can go in the bin, look, with the paint. Job done. Okay, moving around the workshop far too fast. Look at the state of the compressors. These things have been working their asses off. Absolutely full bore. They've been working flat out. And the one up there, look, and the one in the other shed. We have 4 compressors running pretty much all the time to feed the sandblasting cabinet. For usually about, 6, maybe 7 hours a day. For 3 days, she got all those plates done. I couldn't do it. I could not stand in front of a sandblasting cabinet for 3 days solid. I really couldn't. I just wouldn't do it. And that's where Mrs. Mechanic comes in, you see. She does all that. She's brilliant. Okay. Hang on a minute. John Nuttall, don't you have tattoos with birthdays? That's a very good idea. I could do that. I'm well overdue some more ink, as they say. I could do that. I really could. Maybe I'll incorporate it into the next design. But it needs to be somewhere where I can see it as well, so not on my back, obviously. That wouldn't work. Okay, last cigarette, so we'll crack on. The Giants, Simon. We are very blessed to have the missus always ready to help when we need them. We are. She's a great backup. She really is. And she sort of keeps you in line as well, you sort of put ideas past and she's like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Or, no, you really shouldn't be doing that, Mr. Young. That's not a good idea. And she takes the brunt, I mean, I don't think of it as being over stressful, the job that I have, but she tells me otherwise, she hears a lot of the phone conversations that go on when I'm working from home and the emails that I have to deal with and the problems and all that kind of stuff. And she says, no, you have a very stressful job. And I think she's right. I do. And because of that, when you put the phone down, you have a bit of a whinge. You want to offload some of that stress. And she's always there to listen, and sometimes I'm maybe a bit snappy at her now and again because I'm stressed. And she sort of understands that it's not really me talking. It's the aftermath of the previous conversation, so to speak. So, yeah, I always try and apologize. And I even realize I'm doing it when I'm doing it, and I try to stop, but sometimes you just can't help yourself, you want to vent, I think is the word. Mike Adams, question. Why is it when you're on a roll, getting a job or project done, you wind up laying a tool down and it disappears, and wind up losing time running around like a chicken with its head cut off, trying to find it? Yes, over the years, I have become far more conscious about making sure, as soon as I finish using those tools, to put them back where they live. Sometimes when I'm working under the carport on an ROV, I know what range of tools I need, and I just grab everything and then go outside and put it on them, because we've got some really good shelving now under the carport, and they're all sort of workbenchy heights, so you can put all your tools on there and stuff. And again, when I'm working on the vehicle, I never leave a tool on the vehicle. If I finish with it, it goes on that shelf or it comes back in the workshop. And that sort of really helps to not lose things. I hate losing tools. The last tool that I lost was a 3/8 ratchet and a 17mm single hex shallow socket, both 10 tools. And it was when I was adjusting the brakes, this would be probably a couple of years ago now, on the small Ifor Williams trailer. And like a complete moron, for some reason, I left the ratchet on the back of the brake backing plate where the adjuster is, and forgot all about it. Just put the wheel on and forgot all about it. And that ratchet now lives somewhere on the road between here and Auckland. It's gone. I bought a new one to replace it, but you know, what a waste. Mr. Young, be more careful. You know, don't like that. Don't like losing stuff. If I break something, fair enough. It's broken in the line of duty, but if you just lose it, that's careless. And you're right, 10mm sockets, they're a nightmare. They're a law unto themselves. They don't comply to any of the rules of this universe. They have their own ability to jump in time. It's quite bizarre. It really is. Yeah. Things, I've had a fair few tools disappear over the years. And yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? It's really annoying. Even if it only costs a few bucks, it doesn't matter. That was your tool and you didn't want to lose it, and you shouldn't have to replace it because you didn't break it. The Giant. I also hate losing tools and lending anyone tools. Man, I am really hard when it comes to lending out tools. Saying that, I purchased a pressure transducer kit from Ivan at Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics, and that arrived a few months ago. You may have seen the unboxing on one of the live streams, and I hadn't had a chance to use it. You know, I'd not had the time to play around with it and experiment and get some known goods and that kind of thing. And I got asked the other week. I got a phone call from a very well-respected motorcycle engineer, very clever guy. First name is Wayne, runs his own motorcycle shop, and he built a two-stroke fuel-injected engine many years ago for a dirt bike, and it was, you know, testament to his skill set. He's a very clever bloke, and if I get any really curly diagnostics on bikes, and they're somewhere in his region, I will send the customer there, because I know that Wayne, he's got the right kind of attitude and skill set to work his way through it. You know, I'm very confident he'll find the problem. You know, it might take a bit longer. He's far more competent than I am at diagnostics. He does it every day. He's a really clever bloke. I just do diagnostics every now and again. You know, it's not all the time, especially, you know, electronic stuff. I enjoy it, but I just don't get to do it every day, unfortunately. If I did, I'd be a lot better at it and a lot quicker at it. I know that. But he asked to borrow the pressure transducer, and I said, and he's bought himself a Pico scope off my request. I said, I think this would be a really good thing for you to learn to use for diagnostics. It'll speed up the process a lot for you, and you'll find it extremely useful. And he's really taken it on board. He's really learning very quickly how the Pico works, and how useful it can be. And he wanted to borrow the pressure transducer because he was setting up the timing on a particular motorcycle, and an old bike it was, and he couldn't use a timing light because the flywheel was oil immersed and it was spraying loads of oil out and stuff. And he says, look, I'll just do it with your pressure transducer. I said, fine. I said, it'd be great for you to get used to using that. And I'm pretty much confident he will go and buy one of those as soon as he's finished this particular job, because he'll want one in his arsenal. He'll realize just how useful they are. And I'm looking forward to using it. I really am. JJ, I hate to see your electricity bill with 4 compressors running 7 hours a day. I know, it's monstrous. It really is. I mean, the normal electric bill just for the house, so if I'm away, say in the South Island for a month, the electric bill, which is because the workshop's closed up, we don't, you know, Emma doesn't come in the workshop when I'm not here. The bill for the house for that month is tiny. She's extremely frugal. You know, she'll sit there with lots of layers on and not even put a heater on. You know, it's quite bizarre. But she's extremely frugal when it comes to, you know, turning lights off and stuff. Obviously, it's a bit higher in the winter time. Although saying that, it's a bit higher in the summertime now because we have the aircon as well. But when we're here and we're doing this fabrication work, especially where the air compressors are being used a lot, or if I'm doing a lot of welding, man, the electric bill is monstrous. It really is. Electric is not cheap here in New Zealand, even though it's from renewable sources and stuff. They know how to charge. They really do. One godsend is up until about 2 years ago, I think it was the changeover. We used to have to pay 2 electric companies for our electric. We paid the lines company, and they maintained all the power lines to this area, or in this area. And then we paid another company for the actual amount of electric that we used. So you were paying out 2 bills, and it was a lot of money. Anyway, they merged, or they got bought out or something. Anyway, and we now get 1 bill, and it is actually significantly less. It's I think this was the only area in New Zealand where there was a separate lines company. It's finally, you know, the same as the rest of the country now, where you just get 1 bill, and it's still enough. Don't get me wrong, but it's a bit more realistic. It was getting out of hand. It was just crazy money. Nick Young, 1961. It warms my heart every time I hear of a marriage lasting like yours, mate. You're a very, very lucky man. I am a very, very lucky chap. Mrs. Mechanic has worked very hard on our marriage. She really has, and she's incredibly tolerant. Simon, not missing one 10mm socket, but keep losing 4-pound mash hammers. What? Locking wheel nut removal. Okay. 4-pound mash hammer for the Dynamec tool I use. In a rush to the next job, don't pick it up. Yeah, when you're in a rush, you don't think straight, and you know. I don't normally. It's certainly the exception to the rule if I leave any tools out. Normally, at the end of the day, all the tools go away, the benches get swept down, you know, and it's all tidy when you come in the next time. It feels nicer. You're not coming to a workshop that's full of mess and there's tools scattered around and stuff. I mean, sure, there's a couple of clamps on the bench over there because we're going to be using those this morning. But when it comes to sockets, spanners, all that kind of stuff, your hand tools, they always get put away. And you know, every socket's got its little place, and if there's a gap, there's something missing, and you go and find it, and you don't pack up until you found it. That's my rule, and that's what I work to, and it works really well. JJ, can anyone suggest where I can obtain a cheap stroke free OBD2 diagnostic tester for a Toyota or Lexus, please? Well, you won't get it for free, but you can buy them pretty cheap off Amazon now, and they're not expensive at all. And I'm sure it'll cover Toyotas. I mean, they're a pretty common brand, and Lexus will be the same, I think. But probably Amazon. But Simon might have a better idea. Where would you suggest, Simon? Sunshine hasn't come out yet. It's still going to be cold outside. One hour and 38 minutes. Man, doesn't time fly when you've got nothing to talk about? Great, isn't it? Okay, crew. Come on, Simon. I'll let you get that last comment in. Where can JJ get this cheap? You're not going to get a free one. Where can you get this cheap OBD2 diagnostic tester from other than Amazon? I think Amazon's probably the best place for it. There's loads of them on there now. Go on, Simon. Go on, you can do it. I don't get the little dots like you do on Facebook Messenger. So maybe he's not even typing. I don't know. Or maybe Simon will comment after the end of the live stream. Maybe. Okay, crew. I am getting cold. Coffee's getting cold again. It's time for me to sign off. It's been a good morning, actually. Thank you for your time, for joining me on the live stream. It was a good pie, a very good pie. If you ever see one of those for sale somewhere, you're hungry, I would suggest that you go in there and go and buy it because you'll like it, I think. Right, Jen says, Andy and crew, have a wonderful weekend ahead, a wonderful week ahead. I'll do my very best. We've got lots to get done. Long drive ahead of me tomorrow. It's about a 3.5 hour drive each way. And I've got a visit that'll last probably about 2.5 hours when I get there. So it's going to be a long day tomorrow. Okay, crew, it's time for me to get painting. Dipping first and then spraying. Bloody spraying. All right, crew, thanks for joining and have a good week. I will see you in 2 weeks' time for the next live stream. So not next Sunday, the Sunday after. All right, crew. Cheers now. Over and out.